Hey everyone, and welcome back to a new video. So in this workout, I went heavy on everything, and it was kind of odd because the first thing that happened when I went to the gym is I realized I forgot my headphones, which is usually not a good indicator, but thankfully the music was good today, or wasn't too loud, which is usually could be two problems. Sometimes the music is music I don't like, or it's really loud, or both. And thankfully it was a good combination of that. So it didn't hinder anything. If anything, it helped a little bit. But music for me, if it's not a distraction, is good. I don't mind it in the background. Definitely, like, it doesn't help me get more hyped up if it's just music that's just generally playing. It always helps me if it's in my ear and I'm able to crank it up, whatever I want to be maxing out to on that particular day. But perhaps the headphones were a blessing in disguise, because everything went well and I didn't need them for any of the big lifts that I did. So for snatches, I did some waves, and I was actually able to wave up to 125, although I was pretty pressed out. I was definitely happy to be able to hit that and didn't have any misses with it, which was pretty exciting. The 120 before that went a lot better than the 125, but the 125, definitely happy to be able to stabilize that and stand that up, and then did a lot of good reps below that, and like I said, didn't have any misses, so that's always exciting to have that. And I don't know, it's just kind of weird because I'm just like thinking back of just how generally calm I was like through all my lifts. Like I wasn't, like, I got a little hyped up, but it wasn't anything that was like too over the top. So I don't know, maybe that's something to think about for future heavy sessions like that, to kind of stay even kill, because maybe it'll help a bit more. But for clean jerks, I didn't do any waves, so I just worked up for a heavy single because I wasn't going to be lifting the next day. So same thing with snatches, I was just more aggressive with them as far as the numbers I wanted to attempt to do today, or at least the ones that I felt that I could. So I went from 70, 100, 120 up to, I skipped the 130 jump and went to 140. 140 was kind of ugly, but I got it. And then the 150, same kind of thing. It was ugly for the jerk and still was able to stabilize it. Similar thing is my afterthoughts with the 125 snatch. It's like, it was ugly, but I was glad I was able to do it, especially with just like, wasn't hyper motivated to train today, and I was still sore from the previous session. But doing the muscle snatches at the beginning kind of told me, or at least showed me, that my body was more recovered than it was the previous day, just based on how the weight was feeling and how much soreness I was experiencing when doing like the overhead squats with that movement. So I definitely want to keep those in, because it's like a good, like, oh, I actually feel not too bad today. It's kind of like a good indicator of how recovered I am, because they aren't really that strenuous, and it's just a good warm up. And the more overhead squats I do, probably the better, just because my overhead position in general is just weak for everything. But after the clean jerks, I decided, I was talking with Rick, you might see him in some of the backgrounds of some of my videos, the older gentleman that does some weightlifting. We were talking about the weightlifting programming, and kind of what I talked about in my video where I said like there wasn't a lot of jerks program, and he's like, you should just do jerks like all the time. And I think that's generally true. One of the things that makes it hard to do jerks all the time is that it kind of beats up your wrists and shoulders. But I definitely, and it's one of the reasons I want to do my own programming, is I want to add more of that stuff in, whether it's 1+2 or clean front squat jerks, or jerks from the rack, front squat jerks, all the good stuff that's not fun to do but good for your jerk to improve. So decided after the clean jerks to do some jerks out of the rack as a result of that conversation, and I was able to get up to 150 again with those. I took different jumps. I went 70, 110, 140, 150, and I was happy with how they felt. I definitely don't think there was a lot more than 150 on that particular day, because I recovered with my back foot first, which is usually a good indicator that the weight's pushed forward a little bit and that it is definitely getting to a maximal weight. Maybe a little bit more, but not really worth it to push it on this particular day. And maybe that's a result of not having the headphones in. I don't have that, like, all right, I'm gonna get hyped up and do another set. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna cut it off there and move to the next thing. I don't know. But after the jerks, I had some back squats, and didn't have a plan for these, and just because everything was going heavy on everything else, I decided to kind of push these up, and was able to get up to 215 for that top set, and actually moved well. When I looked at it, I was like, I should have just did 220 after 225. Probably 220 would have been a smarter jump, but I was definitely happy with the 215, and want to continue to build up that momentum as I'm squatting in the future, just to be able to continue to move up the belt list number, or at least the number I can consistently squat. Anytime I can get above a 215 squat, it's usually a good indicator that my legs are feeling pretty strong. At least on that particular day. But if it's a consistent number I'm able to get to, and then it just shows that my legs are in good shape and everything. And I was happy with like the speed and everything before that. It's kind of annoying because it's hard to see that little 5 kilo plate on the side, but it's there. I felt it. It's definitely, and you can't see it on the ground, so I know I'll probably get some weird comment when I have that as a short. Sometimes that happens based on the angle that I have it, but I don't know. I post thousands of these videos of me lifting. It's pretty easy to verify if I'm doing real numbers or not. Plus, like, the weights are heavy, at least for me, but they're not like PR world record type lifts, so I don't know. It's kind of weird. But anywho, I'm getting sidetracked there. After back squats, was real happy with how that 215, like I said. And so I was pulls. Pulls, I was originally planning, I generally had an idea of doing something like 220 to 240 kilos for maybe some like AMRAP type set. At the top, I didn't really have a direct plan, but I knew I wanted to do 220. That was kind of like the only number I had in my mind. So I worked from 120, 170, 220. And after I did that 220, I was like, that felt pretty easy. I'm going to go up to 260 was my original plan. Then I threw the clips on to make 265, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to move. I remember having some issues last time I went heavy on a deadlift, so I'm like, let's take off my shoes and make this a little bit easier. And it did make it a lot easier. It felt really good. Once I did the 265 deadlift, I was real confident I'd be able to do at least 280. And I was like, I'm gonna try 285 because I haven't done that in a little bit. So threw 285 on there, and thankfully the music in the gym actually got a little bit louder, which was actually quite helpful at this moment because I think it stopped for a second, so it was like dead silent. But then as I was like putting the weights on the bar, they turned some music on, so that definitely helped at least to get a little bit more hyped up, because at least for heavy deadlifts you definitely have to get a little bit more in this, especially when it's, for me, a very high percentage. But beltless as well for all my work today, which is also really nice. I did have the knee sleeves on under everything. I basically always have something on my knees, so I very rarely do beltless work or sleeveless work, just because it just feels better to have something, some sort of compression on my knees. But just kind of real excited with just how the session went. I was really surprised just based on how like mentally I came in to the session. It wasn't like a negative mindset, but I think a lot of people can relate. It just wasn't like, oh, I'm like super geeked up or super hyper or whatever. It's just like, oh, I'm just gonna warm up and train today, and everything just kind of went in the right direction. I didn't have any misses on anything, and I took some pretty big attempts on several different lifts. So it's always nice to have a session like this. I think in the next one, when I'm down in Florida, which will be not tomorrow but the day after, when I do my first training session down there, then I'll be doing some just normal, regular, probably lighter volume, but just lighter as far as the intensity goes, and just trying to get some more reps in, because this workout was pretty light on the reps, and it'll be easier to do lighter intensity work in general because I'll be in a new place. So I don't know, that's kind of tentatively the plan, but I'll have to see how things go down there. And that will be the place I will train at for a couple days. I'm going to be down there from the 29th. I fly down tomorrow. I probably won't train tomorrow. And then I will be flying back on January 2nd. So I probably won't train that day, but I think I talked about that in the last video. Kind of my plans down there. Hopefully I'll be able to film. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But when I get back, I'll have some either videos to post or get edited to post during that week of January, or at least I'll have one of a session when I come back of kind of like the wrap up for the year for the donation thing, the final numbers for that. So look forward to all that. Quite tired right now. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up because I need to get packed and make sure everything is solidified. Thankfully my flight doesn't leave super early, so I don't have to get up at a ridiculously early hour, just actually kind of normal time, and then just drive down to the airport. So that will be I don't know, I'm kind of looking forward to flying down. It'll be like in the 70s down there, so I'm looking forward to being down there for a couple days and actually going somewhere for one of the breaks I have from school. I usually just stay at home and do the same things I do all the time, lift weights and hang out and eat, try to eat at least. But that's it for now. I'll talk to you all in the next video, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.